Israel does whatever it wants, and nobody seems to be able to stop them. Not any or every Muslim country put together, not Russia, not China, not all the Europeans, not America. And what would you naturally then assume? What does that imply about Israel? Like, just, this is a simple question.
Pre-record back with another video. I got some more Nick Fuentes clips for you guys today. And first clip we're going to be getting into is Nick talking about how if no country on earth is able to tell Israel what to do, what can we conclude about the earth? And you know, it's true, you know, because you can't tell Israel nothing, you know. If we're not able, and it's like someone said in the comment right here, Jews run everything, you know. If we can't tell Israel anything, what does that say? That means they have control of everything, you know. And I've been doing my research, you know, just going deep into the whole Israel topic, you know, and just diving down into their history and all that. And I believe that they were founded by the Rothschilds, and because at the end of the day, Israel now isn't the biblical Israel from back in Jesus' time, you know, in the Bible. You know, it's not. They try to claim it's that, you know, but it's a lie, you know. In my opinion, I believe that, you know. I think it's a lie. But yeah, I'm gonna let Nick say it, explain it, you know. I'll ask if you guys like, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts on the video. You know, it really helps me out with the channel. You know, I'm just trying to promote Nick as much as I can. You know, America first, always. You know, and yeah, Nick's live Monday through Friday on Rumble. I'll link it down below in the description. So yeah, enjoy it, guys.
Israel does whatever it wants. Israel does whatever it wants, and nobody seems to be able to stop them. Not any or every Muslim country put together, not Russia, not China, not all the Europeans, not America. And what would you naturally then assume? What does that imply about Israel? Like, just, this is a simple question. Think about it. If no country on earth is able to tell Israel what to do, what can we conclude about the earth? It's an easy question. Don't overthink it. If every country in the world and all of its people want Israel to stop doing something, but no one can get them to stop, what can we logically conclude? What must we conclude about the world? I don't mean to perpetuate any anti-Semitic tropes, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but this is just like logical. Doesn't that seem to imply, wouldn't that tend to imply that Israel controls the whole world? Wouldn't that tend to imply that? Now, there can be all sorts of explanations and rationalizations, and, you know, conservative commentators will get on their shows and they'll say, well, you think a nation of 16 million people controls the world? They're the size of New Jersey. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, but it is also true, though, that they seem to do whatever they want. Russia can't do whatever it wants. China can't do whatever it wants. America, they might be able to do whatever they want. America might be tied with Israel in terms of doing whatever it wants, and no one can stop it. Sort of interesting, but anyway.
No, it is interesting, you know. I mean, when back to Nick was saying, you know, I mean, you know, we try to make it look like China, Russia, you know, these are the big three, right? We're the big three: America, Russia, China. But everyone bows down to Israel and is scared of Israel. And my thing is, it's like, dude, you see the size of Israel, right? Dude, China has a billion people. They have a bigger population than Israel. That means they have more soldiers. In my opinion, I think they would have more soldiers on their side, right? And it's like, everyone's scared of Israel. I mean, including, I mean, us too. We bow down. I mean, I'm not going to act like the United States doesn't bow down to Israel. They do, you know. All these countries bow down. It's like Nick was saying. So what does that go to show? That just shows, like this person right here said, Jews run everything. It's true. Israel runs the world. And if you haven't caught on to that yet, then you're living in the good. You're years behind, bro, because this stuff's been going on for years, you know. Like, it's crazy. And yeah, dude. If you go down the rabbit hole and everything about Israel and all that, it's just, yeah, man. They really do control everything, all the industries. I mean, the pharmaceutical industry, food, everything. I mean, all you look at all the news networks. Who owns all the news network? Jewish. They're all Jews. Jews. It goes back to what Nick said. Jews. They're all Jews. Gotta do your research. All right, next clip I got for you guys is Nick talking about what's really interesting. Well, it's really interesting is who's allowed on YouTube and who isn't. And it's true. A couple of days ago, I think, or no, like a couple of weeks ago, him and Alex Jones had made a YouTube channel on there after we found out that the Biden administration was censoring channels, which is going against freedom of speech. And yeah, after 12 hours, Nick got banned. So that just goes to show that they're still censoring people, even though they claim they're not. And he said Candace and Tucker, in spite of their major pivot towards Israel critique, remain totally uncensored, which is true. Candace has got her show on there. Same with Tucker. Even though they've criticized them, but they don't go after them, but they go after Nick, though, right? So I'm gonna let you guys get into this clip and enjoy it.
It's really interesting who is allowed on YouTube and who isn't it? Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, both of them, in spite of their major pivot towards Israel critique and talking about Jewish power on some level, they both remain totally uncensored. Shapiro never got censored. Turning Point never got censored. Candace, Tucker never got censored. They're not worried about censorship. Me, I've been banned for 5 years. And they're so on top of it, I make a new account literally yesterday, and they ban it in 12 hours. It's not like they're letting me fly under the radar. It's not like they're letting me have an unofficial channel. They are still hunting me on YouTube. Like, they will not let me on YouTube at all. To the extent they are aware of my presence on the platform, they wipe it out. Whereas other people are making millions of dollars saying the exact same thing or similar things. I just find that to be a little bit notable. There's all these big conspiracy theories. Who is Nick? Who's Candace? Who's Tucker? Well, let's look at who's being promoted and who isn't. These platforms are all in bed with Israel. These platforms are all in bed with Jewish power. And they never saw fit throughout Candace's turning or Tucker's turning to restrict their channels in any way, at any point. No suspensions. I think Candace had a short-term ban from streaming last year, and then she picked up right where she left off. Interesting. Meanwhile, even Steven Crowder caught a ban. Steven Crowder caught a ban. Myron got demonetized. Sneeko, of all people, got banned. I got banned, but Candace Owens calling Jews filth every day, that's not banned? I wonder if she was part of the same deal as Ben Shapiro to stay on the platform. Just speculation.
It's facts. I mean, Candace has said stuff like Nick, how Nick talks. I mean, she said she's made remarks. Currently right now she's making remarks against talking about Israel. Revolving around the Charlie Kirk assassination. And same thing with Tucker. Tucker was with Charlie Kirk. And they didn't like that when we saw the text messages between or that Candace released, that Charlie was talking about how his Jewish donors didn't like it that they brought Tucker on. So they clearly don't like these people. They don't like Tucker Carlson, but they still allow him on, like Nick said, they still allow him on YouTube, their platform, And poor old Nick, they still, like I said, they're still censoring him, and it's like it just doesn't make no sense because they're talking about the same exact thing. They talk about the same similar topics, and they just let Candace and them on, but it's like that. It's like he said, all the major platforms. The only one right now, the only two platforms that are allowing freedom of speech that are like the last lines is Rumble, which Nick streams on, and it's X that you see me on right now. These are the two last things of freedom of speech. After that, everything else they have control of. They do. Thank God we got Elon bought X, because if we want to have that, you can't say nothing on Instagram, YouTube. I mean, you can't, which is it's so bad. Alright, next clip I got for you guys is Nick talking about that he might be on Twitter and Rumble. that he is on Twitter and Rumble, but he's still banned on everything else, which is true. You know, he has a Twitter, and he does have Rumble, but everything else, like he said, he's banned. I'm still banned on Instagram. I'm still banned on Facebook. I'm still banned on YouTube and on Twitch. Twitch too. I'm banned from all the biggest American platforms. It's beyond ridiculous, you know, that they do this to people. I think people forget too. Like, they seized almost $500,000 of his money that he earned. You know, yeah, stuff like that's not cool. But that just goes to show all the corrupt stuff they're doing to try and stop someone that's promoting the truth. You know, that's what happens when you promote the truth. This is what happens. This is the outcome of it. You know, they try to censor you. They try to break you down. But like I said, Nick ain't falling for that. So I'm gonna let you guys get into the clip and enjoy it.
And right now, everybody believes that the problem is over because we have Twitter and we have Rumble. Like, I'm able to do this show on Rumble. But think about it. I'm banned on everything else. I'm still banned on Instagram. I'm still banned on Facebook. I'm still banned on YouTube and on Twitch. And those are the biggest platforms. And it's not like, oh, why are you complaining? You're on some platforms, but not others. No, I'm banned from all of the biggest American platforms. Facebook has 3 billion users. Okay? Facebook has 3 billion users. Do you know how many are on X? 500 million. Okay? The highest estimates say that X has 500 million active users. Facebook has 6 times as many. YouTube has 2.5 billion users. So X is an anomaly, and it is arguably the smallest of the American platforms. It is in the same territory as Snapchat in terms of its user base. It doesn't approach the size of Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Do you know how many active users are on Rumble? Some estimates say 20 to 30 million. So there's 3 billion on Facebook. There's 30 million on Rumble. There's literally 100 times more users on the biggest platforms, YouTube and Facebook, than are on the alternative streaming platform Rumble. And 6 times as many as the microblogging platform X. And by the way, X and Rumble are both under enormous pressure all the time. X seems to be in some kind of détente with the ADL, lest we forget that the ADL waged a war against Elon Musk and X, leading an advertiser boycott, trying to bankrupt the platform, and then thereby bankrupt Elon Musk. It was only after he made the pilgrimage to Israel and Auschwitz that they seemed to strike some sort of a deal. And as far as Rumble is concerned, the future is uncertain here as well. Will Rumble be able to turn a profit? Will Rumble be able to survive after the Trump administration, which ends in just 3 short years? So we have something like a beachhead right now in Silicon Valley, but by no means is this concrete. And I'm not throwing shade at Rumble, but my point is, it's not like we have free speech on the internet. We have pockets of it, which are very tenuous. We have pockets of free speech on the smallest alternative platforms, X and Rumble, and we don't know how long these embattled platforms are able to survive. Meanwhile, the biggest platforms have not changed at all. They seem to be temporarily allowing some things to be more widespread, but there is not some kind of large-scale reinstatement program happening. And that's where you look at the Trump administration and say, where is the whole of government approach to get us back? Jim Jordan should not be trying to sell YouTube's appeasement. He should be trying to work against YouTube to get as much as possible for his own constituency. But I'm not going to hold my breath. And by the way, that's why me and Alex Jones jumped on the platform. Me and Alex Jones jumped on the platform to put pressure back onto YouTube. We knew it was going to go this way, but think about it. Jim Jordan said, everybody's coming back. And all of the masses breathed a sigh of relief and said, oh, don't worry, YouTube's going to let everybody back now. Me and Alex Jones started our new channels to say, no, look at what they're actually doing. They're saying a pilot program sometime in the future. Some people can come back. It's to put the pressure and the spotlight back on them and say, if this is what free speech looks like, that's bullshit. People have been banned for years over nothing. And now you're going to give us a pilot program? Too little, too late. Where's the rest? Where's the free speech? Let us just make videos. You have left-wing people shooting people in the face. People are celebrating it on social media. We're banned because of stuff we said 7 or 5 years ago for hate speech. It's ridiculous.
No, it is ridiculous. You know, it's like Nick said, dude. I mean, the fact that he's banned still, and then they came out and said like we're gonna unban people that were banned, censored under the Biden administration. It's just ridiculous. And then when he talks about the point about going about saying that Rumble, I mean, it's like he said. I mean, so far under the Trump administration, you know, we know that censorship, they're not going to do any of that, right? I mean, besides Israel, the only thing that they are doing. But we can't have a Democratic president in 28 or 32. We can't, you know, we just can't, because that's what's going to happen. If the Democrats seize power again, they are going to censor every single thing in their way. Like, so we've seen it before when Biden was president. They censored everyone. What makes you think they're not going to do it again? And it's just crazy. Like Nick said, he's still banned on Facebook. 3 billion people on there. You know how many people he could be getting across and preaching his message, you know, and all that? But instead, he has to be on Rumble and all that because, of course, they don't let him on there. I don't like that stuff. I think it's bull crap and all that. But, yeah, last clip I got for you guys is Nick talking about why he thinks Shapiro and Kirk were allowed to grow on YouTube and TikTok when everybody else was banned. And it's true. Look, it says it's because Republicans and conservatives are in bed with big tech. It's facts, you know. I mean, they are. And yeah, right here, big tech and the Republicans are run by Jews. They are. I mean, like I said, I like Trump MAGA, but they are the Jews. They got them, dude. But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys enjoy this clip. Listen to some Nick Fuentes, and yeah, enjoy it.
Alphabet sends him a letter and says, so we're going to do a limited pilot program. We're going to bring some people back who were banned for certain violations. And what does Jim Jordan do? He publishes it and exaggerates the extent of what they're doing. He says they're going to let everybody back on. Like, bro, no, they're not. They're not saying that. They haven't followed through at all yet. There's no results. And that's not even what they're promising. So why are you selling their policy to us? You should be representing our concerns against them. Understand the difference? YouTube is going to Republicans and saying, we'll give you these concessions if you leave us alone. And Republicans are coming to their voters and telling them, guys, they've got it covered. It's going to be fine. Hey, you work for us. You should be taking our demands, which should be outrageous and extreme, and go to YouTube and ask for as much as you can possibly get and never be satisfied. But would you like to know why this never happens? It's because so many of the Republicans are in the pocket of big tech. Do you know, for example, that Turning Point USA, they were involved with big tech? They were getting donations. How do you think Charlie Kirk became so famous in the past year and a half? It's because Charlie Kirk, he admitted this. He made a deal with TikTok. He talked about this openly. He bragged about it. He said, I'm going to go to TikTok, and they said that I'm going to be boosted on the For You page, and I would be allowed to have a channel if I said to get out the vote. During the Biden administration, during the pandemic, Shapiro, Daily Wire, I'm told, as well as others, they made a deal with YouTube. And the deal was, if you don't talk about vaccines, then we won't ban you. You think that has something to do with why Ben Shapiro said, get the vaccine, you idiots? Remember that one? Get the vaccine, dopes. Why do you think Shapiro was allowed to grow on YouTube when everyone was banned? Why do you think Kirk was allowed to grow on TikTok when everybody was banned? It's because Republicans and conservatives are in bed with big tech. They get money from big tech. Conservative influencers rely on big tech for platforms, and Republicans get donations from big tech. And that's why they've never fought big tech. And as a matter of fact, why they're covering for them. And that makes them complicit. And it reinforces the idea that there really is no distinction then between right and left. Like, think about it. If big tech is working with the Democrats to censor conservatives, and then big tech is paying conservatives not to say certain things or not to go after big tech, well, who really has the power? Is it the right and the left, or is it the money? The money is paying both sides. CPAC is sponsored by big tech. Turning Point got checks from big tech. Shapiro cut a deal with big tech. So if Silicon Valley is paying Republicans and Democrats and they're upholding those policies, who's really in control there? And you realize there's a handshake deal between the left, the establishment right, and the money to do one thing, which is to gatekeep the conversation. If Silicon Valley is banning the most extreme elements of the right, and most conservatives don't speak up for the far right, they're complicit in it, in a sense, they benefit from this because that's their competition. That's an inconvenient political opponent for them. If their right flank, who is also their competition, is being banned, then they enjoy a monopoly on right-wing opinion making. That has an extraordinary benefit in terms of you control what is being said. It's also a financial benefit. You're the only one that gets to say right-wing things. Looking at it another way, it's almost like Silicon Valley gives out a license for who gets to have a right-wing opinion. Shapiro is a licensed right-wing opinion haver. Turning Point USA was a licensed right-wing opinion haver. American Renaissance, Sam Hyde, Nick Fuentes, TRS, Andrew Anglin, we all are not licensed. We are not allowed to share our right-wing opinions. We're not allowed to make money off of our right-wing opinions. Only they are allowed. They have a monopoly on being right-wing in America, and that monopoly is created by Silicon Valley and in some sense enforced or overlooked by the government. And the effect that this has is it lets the establishment right and Silicon Valley control the gate of which ideological statements or opinions are allowed to be amplified using mass media, using social media. That's what that is.
It's facts, you know. That's the thing. I mean, even though I like I roll with the right, you know, like the Republicans, you know, Trump, MAGA, but it's true, dude. The people who really run America, like I said, big tech and Jews. I mean, it's the donors. Who do you think funds the Republicans and the Democrats? They're being funded by someone. That means that every year someone's donating, like I said, for the Democrats. Prime example, George Soros. He donates money to their party, you know? So he has the leverage over them because he's the one giving the money for them, you know? So that means the donors are the ones that really run everything, you know? And in this case, like he said, yeah, Republicans and conservatives, they're in bed with big tech. It's true, you know? I mean, and not to be a dick, like I said, I love, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, you know? I loved him. I loved watching him, talking about him. But it's true, though, you know? That's the thing. He got in bed with the dudes that had money, you know? And that's the bad part. When you get involved with dudes that got money and you play around with their money, you know, and you start talking about things they don't like, you know, they ain't gonna be happy and they're gonna let you know stuff, you know? And yeah, it's just not gonna go good. And I also didn't know that when Nick said right now that he had struck a deal with TikTok. That's crazy that Charlie was able to get a deal with TikTok, for them to promote his content. I mean, a win's a win, but I mean, it's not cool that Nick wasn't able to do that, get deals done, but they let Charlie get deals done and all that, but that's gonna be it here, guys. Like I said, America first always. Like I said, trying to get these Nick Fuentes clips out for you guys, give you guys the real news, the real right, and just like I said, different opinions and all that, But if you guys like this video, like, subscribe, comment down below, give me your thoughts about the video, Nick's live Monday through Friday on the Rumble, so check them out there. I'll link it down below. And yeah, everyone have a good one. And this is Pure Record out.